It was a rainy evening in Victoria Island, Lagos. Inside the lavish Grand Marquis Hotel, the annual Tech and Investment Gala was underway. CEOs, investors, celebrities, all gathered under crystal chandeliers. Amid the crowd was Adrian Okafor, a young, dashing billionaire and the CEO of Techline Africa. After a long, draining day of meetings, Adrian stepped away from the crowd, settling at the rooftop bar for a moment of silence. That's when he saw her, Ella, a freelance interior designer, attending the event with a friend who had a last-minute invite. Their eyes met. No names were exchanged, just silent conversation, brief laughter, and an undeniable pull between them. One thing led to another. That night, in room 509 of the hotel, passion overcame logic. By morning, Adrian was gone, called away to an urgent investor meeting in Dubai. Ella woke up confused, the stranger's name unknown, with only a hotel notepad scribbled with "Thank you for the night." She would never forget that night. 2 months later, Ella discovered she was pregnant. Her world crumbled. When her family in Enugu found out, shame and fury erupted. Her father, a retired reverend, called her a disgrace. Her mother wept for days. Not knowing who the father was, her parents exiled her to her grandmother's village in Kogi State, far away from the whispers and stares. There, in the midst of red earth and green hills, Ella gave birth to a baby boy. She named him Zion. With her grandmother's help, she raised him alone, far from city lights, boardrooms, or designer heels. Back in Lagos, Adrian had never forgotten that night. He tried everything, checking hotel records, guest lists, surveillance, but her full name had never been registered. The hotel had been hosting multiple guests, and the woman he met had used a friend's guest pass. He became obsessed. He visited every major interior design firm, hosted events, placed anonymous classifieds. To the woman I met at Grand Marquis on September 12th, "Please reach me. You changed my life." Years passed. No one ever came forward. After 6 years in Kogi, Ella's grandmother passed away. With only a small inheritance and a heart full of courage, Ella decided to return to Lagos with her son. Zion was now a bright-eyed boy with a brilliant smile and a love for drawing. They moved to a tiny apartment in Surulere. Ella picked up odd jobs and later landed a contract job as a junior interior designer for Techline Africa, the very company Adrian owned. Neither of them knew the storm that fate was preparing. Adrian walked into the design wing of his company on a random Tuesday. He rarely visited that department, but today something pulled him in. As he passed the desks, he saw her. His heart skipped. She looked different, simpler, older maybe, but something about her felt familiar. He brushed it off as a trick of memory. Ella looked up and felt a strange shiver, like she had seen it before, somewhere distant. They exchanged greetings. "Just a good morning, sir." Neither recognized the other fully, yet. But Zion? Zion saw something else. "Mummy, that man looks like me." Days turned into weeks. Adrian kept noticing the new designer. She was hardworking, quiet, and creative, but it wasn't her work that haunted him. It was her eyes. Every time she looked up, something stirred in him. One evening, during a late work review, Adrian asked her to stay back. Ella, nervous but professional, agreed. They talked about design, about passion, about dreams. He asked her about her background. She told him about the village, about raising a son alone. She didn't mention the one-night stand. She didn't see any reason to. Adrian felt a strange ache in his chest. At home, Zion had been drawing someone repeatedly in his sketchbook, a man in a black suit with sharp eyes and a kind smile. Ella finally asked, "Zion, who is this man you keep drawing?" He replied, "It's the man from your office. I saw him that day. He looks like me." Ella's heart thudded. She snatched the sketchbook and stared. The resemblance between Zion and Adrian was undeniable. She remembered the note, the hotel, the night. She began to tremble. Ella didn't sleep that night. She dug out an old red box she had hidden for years. It held her pregnancy test, Zion's baby shawl, the notepad with Adrian's message, and a photo of her and her newborn. The initials A on the note now burned into her mind. The next day, she searched Techline's website. CEO, Adrian Chukwuma Okafor. Her knees buckled. It was him, Zion's father. Adrian, too, had been restless. He visited the design floor again. Zion had come to the office with Ella that day due to a school closure. When Adrian saw the boy up close, he froze. The same jawline, the same eyes. It was like looking into the past. "Who is that boy?" he asked from the staff. "Ms. Ella's son." Adrian's world spun. He requested a background check. Discreet, just enough to trace her employment history. What came back sent chills down his spine. She once lived in the same village he had tracked months ago, a place he'd investigated when chasing a false lead about his mystery woman. It couldn't be coincidence. Adrian asked Ella to join him in his private lounge upstairs after work. He looked at her and said softly, "Your son, Zion. He looks like me." Ella's hands trembled. She replied with a whisper, "Because he is you." A silence fell between them, the kind that wraps itself around time and memory. Adrian stood still, trying to breathe. Tears welled in Ella's eyes. "I didn't know who you were. I swear. I didn't come here to cause problems." Adrian stepped closer. "You didn't. You just changed everything." After the confrontation, Adrian asked Ella for time, to think, to process, to breathe. The truth shook him to his core. For years, he'd searched the world for a ghost. Now, she had been just a few doors away, raising his son alone. He felt guilt, anger, confusion, and oddly peace. But for Ella, it was fear. Would he take her child away? Would he hate her? Or would he reject them both? She spent the next few days avoiding him at work, but Adrian didn't call or show up. Until one evening, he came unannounced to her small apartment in Surulere, wearing jeans, holding a bouquet of sunflowers and a new sketchbook. He knelt to greet Zion. "Hi, I'm Adrian. I think I'm your dad." In the weeks that followed, Adrian made quiet but determined efforts to bond with Zion. They went to a Lego workshop in Acadia, shared seat on the car, and Adrian taught him how to ride a bicycle. Zion was shy at first, but his heart opened slowly. Ella watched them, tears hiding behind her smiles. The man she once knew as a stranger was now becoming something more, a father to her son. But her heart was guarded. She had learned never to dream too much. Adrian, on the other hand, was falling hard, both for his son and for the woman who had carried this burden all alone. While their bond grew stronger, storm clouds gathered at Techline Africa. One of Adrian's jealous board members, Chief Otumbuluwal, overheard the CEO's personal assistant discussing Ella. Rumors began to spread. The CEO has a village girl with a bastard child? Did she trap him? Tabloids caught wind. Headlines blared. CEO Adrian Okafor's hidden child. Mystery designer's baby mama. Adrian called a press conference. With cameras rolling, he held Ella's hand and declared, "This is Ella. She is the mother of my son, and the best thing that has ever happened to me." The internet exploded. Some cheered, some criticized, but Adrian didn't care. For once, he wasn't running. After the chaos, Adrian invited Ella and Zion to his home in Ikoyi for the first time. The mansion was elegant, quiet, and full of art. Zion's eyes lit up with wonder. Ella, however, felt like a fish out of water. Everything here screamed power, and she still felt like the girl from Kogi. Adrian knelt and handed her a velvet box. "You don't owe me anything, but I owe you everything." Inside was a bracelet engraved with "Thank you for Zion." Ella couldn't speak. She could only cry. Though they hadn't officially defined what they were yet, Adrian, Ella, and Zion slowly became a family. Adrian started taking Zion to school. Ella got promoted within the company. She began hosting design exhibitions. Her confidence returned. One night, while putting Zion to bed, the boy looked up and said, "Mummy, can he live with us now?" Ella laughed softly, tears in her eyes. "Maybe one day." Adrian stood at the doorway, silently listening. That night, as Ella walked him to the gate, Adrian paused. "I don't just want to be your son's father. I want to be yours too." Ella blinked, stunned. He smiled. "Don't answer yet. Just think about it." Then he drove off into the night. The media buzz eventually reached Enugu, where Ella's parents now live in quiet retirement. Her younger sister, Miriam, saw the news on Facebook. She gasped and called her mother. "Mummy, that girl you sent to the village, she's in the news, with a billionaire." Their father, Pastor Ease, was furious. She should have stayed hidden. She's bringing shame again. But their mother, Mama Nkechi, quietly opened a drawer and brought out an old photo of Ella as a baby, taped beside a worn-out Bible. Tears welled up. Back in Lagos, Ella received a letter, handwritten, from her mother. "Come home. I miss you. I want to meet my grandson." Ella, Adrian, and Zion traveled to Enugu. It was the first time in years she had seen the red sands of home. Her family house looked the same, rusty zinc roof, hibiscus bushes still blooming. Miriam ran out to hug her. Mama Nkechi followed, weeping and holding Zion like he was gold. But Pastor E stayed by the door, unmoved. Later that night, Adrian approached him man to man. "I understand why you're upset, sir, but your daughter is the strongest woman I've ever met, and Zion is a good boy. You should be proud." Pastor E didn't respond, but the next morning he cooked breakfast himself, for the first time in years. Back in Lagos, Adrian began making plans. He bought a private island just outside Lekki, a calm escape with palm trees, white sand, and glass gazebos. He worked with Ella's design team secretly to plan an end-of-project dinner. Meanwhile, Zion was in on it too. "Mummy, can we go somewhere nice today?" Daddy said it's a surprise. Ella smiled and dressed in a flowing coral gown. They took a boat across calm waters. As they arrived, she saw lanterns, soft music, petals on the sand, and Adrian waiting in a white native outfit with a ring. He knelt. "I searched the world for you, Ella, but you were always right here in my heart. Will you marry me?" Ella couldn't speak at first. Her hand covered her mouth, and tears rolled down her cheeks. Zion tugged at her gown. "Mummy, say yes now." She laughed through her tears. "Yes, Adrian. Yes." Cheers erupted from hidden speakers. A few close friends and staff who helped plan the proposal came out clapping. Champagne flowed. A small live band played Aces, Olomi. As they danced under the stars, Adrian whispered, "This isn't the end. This is the beginning." Ella smiled. "I know. We were always meant to find each other again." As they returned to Lagos with wedding plans ahead, one dark cloud loomed in the background. Chief Otumbalawal, the board member Adrian had once shut down. He watched the engagement on TV, sipping whiskey in his estate. "She's not one of us," he muttered. He made a call. Dig into her past. Find anything. He wasn't going to let her become Mrs. Okafor that easily. But fate had brought them together. And fate was not done writing their story yet. The wedding date was set. Invitations were printed in gold foil. Bella and Nigel weddings featured their love story. Social media buzzed. The billionaire and the village girl. Ella tried to ignore the whispers. She was focused on the future. Zion had picked out his suit. Adrian's mother, Lady Ifeoma Okafor, returned from London to meet Ella and her grandson. Surprisingly, she liked them both instantly. But strange things began happening. Ella's email got hacked. Her name was mysteriously removed from the company's system. One morning, she walked into TechLine, and her access card failed at the gate. Adrian stormed into IT. Who did this? The culprit? Chief Otumbalawal. But he wasn't done yet. Otumba's hired investigator uncovered something shocking. Ella had once been accused of theft in her former design internship before she was sent to the village. It was a false accusation. She had taken the fall for a friend who vanished. Otumba leaked the story to a blog with headlines like, "CEO Adrian's bride once caught stealing. Can she be trusted?" Adrian found out during a board meeting when his phone wouldn't stop buzzing. His face fell as he saw the story trending. Ella saw it too. Her hands shook. All the shame returned like floodwaters. Adrian raced to her apartment. "Did you do it?" he asked. "No," she whispered. "But I didn't fight it back then. I didn't have the strength." The scandal caused a stir. Wedding sponsors pulled out. Vendors canceled. People gossiped online. Maybe she trapped her with the child. He should do DNA. She's a gold digger. Lady Iphioma stood firm. If you believe her, fight for her. Adrian called a press conference. Again, he held Ella's hand and announced, "We all have a past. I love her present, and I choose our future." He didn't care what anyone thought, but Ella did. That night, she almost ended everything. "I can't keep bringing drama into your life, Adrian." But he stopped her with one sentence. "You are my life, Ella. You and Zion." A week later, the friend who once disappeared, the real culprit behind the theft, returned from Canada. Her name was Bisola. She had seen the news and couldn't bear the guilt anymore. She posted a video confessing, "I framed Ella. She didn't steal anything. I was scared and selfish. I'm sorry." The video went viral. Ella's name was cleared. Otumbalawal was exposed too, for unauthorized surveillance, bribery, and corporate sabotage. Adrian had him arrested. The board forced him to resign. Peace returned. The wedding plans resumed. The venue, a private garden in Abuja, surrounded by jacaranda trees and white orchids. Guests arrived in vibrant Asoebi. Traditional drums and violins played as Ella walked down the aisle, hand in hand with Zion. Adrian stood at the altar in a royal blue agbada, his heart pounding. When Ella reached him, he kissed her forehead. "You were worth every moment of searching." They exchanged vows beneath a flower arch as the sun dipped behind the hills. From strangers in a hotel to lovers bound by destiny, they were finally home. Life after the wedding was like a dream, finally blooming in reality. Adrian and Ella moved into a quiet estate in Ikoyi with Zion. Adrian adjusted to family life, morning school runs, bedtime stories, and weekend painting sessions with Zion. Ella returned to work, this time not just as a designer, but as a creative director of Techline Interiors, a subsidiary Adrian built just for her. Zion thrived at his new school, confident, loved, whole. But just when everything felt perfect, something unexpected arrived. A letter with no name, no stamp, just 3 words written on the front. "You deserve the truth." The letter inside revealed something shocking. Adrian's biological father was not the man he grew up calling Dad. The truth had been hidden by his late mother, Lady Iphioma. The letter included documents, an old photo of a younger Iphioma, and a man named Chuka Diallo, a struggling artist from Enugu. A DNA test result was attached, proving that Chuka had submitted it before he died 2 years ago, hoping Adrian would someday know. Adrian locked himself in his study. "I don't even know who I am anymore," he told Ella that night. But she sat beside him and whispered, "You are the man who raised my son, the man who chose love. That's who you are." Adrian decided to visit Chuka's grave in Enugu. He took Ella and Zion along. The grave was modest, behind a small chapel, with wildflowers growing around it. Adrian knelt. "I wish I'd known you," he said softly, "but thank you for giving me this life." Beside him, Zion placed one of the sketches, a drawing of Adrian, Chuka, and himself holding hands. Ella watched silently, tears in her eyes. That visit brought closure, not just for Adrian, but for the man he never met. 1 year later, Ella launched her own design foundation for single mothers, the Zion Project. Adrian expanded Techline across West Africa. Zion turned 8, and his birthday became a national media story titled, "The Boy Who Reunited Two Souls." They visited the Grand Marquis Hotel again, the very place it all began, this time as a family. As they stood on the rooftop, Adrian took Ella's hand and said, "I lost you once. God made sure I'd never lose you again." They smiled at each other. Below them, the lights of Lagos shimmered. The city that once tore them apart had brought them together. And this time, forever. The end. Sparkles, thank you for watching Fate brought us together. If you like stories like this, subscribe to our channel. Like, comment, and follow so you'll be the first to see our videos when posted.